Hello guys and girls, my name is Gabriel, and as I promised in my reaction video to the trailer Witcher 3 Wild Hunt the Sword of Destiny, we're going to analyze this trailer. In a moment we'll jump into my carefully prepared deep analysis. I can already tell you that some of the things that I point out were already mentioned by other people. I don't know if my analysis is as deep as it can be, but considering the fact that I did read the books and I did play the Witcher games from the first one up to the end of the second one several times, I'm quite sure I can give you something extra in those analysis videos. The last time I analyzed the video for The Witcher was the VGX trailer, the Wild Hunt trailer, and this one I'm filming in the middle of E3, which means the gaming community is full of stunning things. Not to mention that on the Microsoft press conference yesterday, the CD Projekt Red guys showed a gameplay section, which also gave us a little bit of an insight on how other elements of the game work and look like. I don't think I will give a deep analysis of that one, because it speaks for itself, unlike the trailer. So here we go, this is the in-depth analysis of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt the Sword of Destiny trailer pre-E3.
So here we are. First shot, the opening one, shows hanging people, which obviously suggests that we are in the middle of a war, if not a after-war setting. I wonder, because it might be possible that, you know, when in the end of Witcher 2 Nilfgaardian forces attacked the northern kingdoms, I believe they are now in some sort of a standstill. Northern forces somewhere in the north of Temeria, Nilfgaardian armies standing on some sort of a river or who knows where, because what we know happens later in the trailer, when Ciri shows up, the Emperor most possibly, I would suggest, he stops the advancement because he wants to, because he knows that Ciri is somewhere there, and you know, a moving armies can become a very dangerous situation. Then we have Nilfgaardian convoy, suggesting that Geralt was, as I like to call it, invited to talk with the Emperor. They came to him and they said, the Emperor wants to see you. Can I refuse? No. Which would be very interesting to see. One shot here, there is a head, most possibly a head that Geralt has on his lap or somewhere in front of him. Some people suggest that this is Leto. I'm not really that sure, and I will tell you why in a second. But if it is Leto, it might be, of course, the trailer might show you the way the game starts when you did kill Leto in The Witcher 2. Also depends on what will be the default setting for those who start without a import save. Then we have walking corpses. I have to clearly state this here. This is not the Wild Hunt. This is not the Wild Hunt, because most likely these are wraiths or specters or just walking corpses, like zombie corpses, something like that. Because they look much more like the cursed wraith from the battle near Vergen in The Witcher 2. I think these guys look much more like that. Not to mention that in 15 seconds of the trailer, one of them has a very typically looking Nilfgaardian armor on him. So keep in mind, these guys are not the Hunt. Then we have Kaer Morhen in the back, and a beautiful land shot with Geralt in the front on the horse. What that means? That means that in The Witcher 3 we go back to the Witcher stronghold, which was featured in the first game. That also makes sense because this is the only place where the Witchers meet. There are basically 3 moments when Witchers do meet after, you know, sort of a graduation from Kaer Morhen. First, when they come to Kaer Morhen for winter. Second, when they meet by chance on the road. And thirdly, when one of them is set with the task to bring the other Witcher to justice, because the other one is suspected to break the Witcher code. So Kaer Morhen is back, which is kind of interesting because from the geographical point of view, if you watched my previous analysis, one of my previous analysis, screw it, I will show you the map anyway. The game will take place much to the south of the Northern Kingdoms, and Kaer Morhen is very much to the north. Witchers from the first game show up. Vesemir, this is the old one. There is also Lambert and Eskel. With those three and Geralt, these are basically the only surviving Witchers from the School of the Wolf. What is most important, between 0:31 to 0:32 seconds of the trailer, we see 5 Witchers. Most possibly the first one, I think that's Leto. Then, of course, Vesemir, Lambert, Eskel, and finally Geralt. Next, Geralt's facelifting. He did his general face was changed a little bit, which is actually quite nice. Later on, we have the beginning of the talk with the Emperor. A lot of soldiers in the room. That certainly suggests there is a VIP in the area, in the room, most possibly the Emperor himself. And of course the voice here is well known to everyone. This is Charles Dance for the English version of the game. Very good, very, I would dare say, almost perfect a choice. He has a low commanding voice for the Emperor. Beautiful, especially for such a commanding person. Then we have Ciri running, which means that she is most possibly escaping. One important thing, on her right hand you can see a bandage that should suggest, I believe, that she's injured. Maybe I'm looking a little bit too much into this, but who knows. I gave a proper introduction of Ciri in one of my interludes for the Witcher LP that we will continue in the near future, I hope. The one more fact about Ciri is that she's older. In the games she was around she was a teenager actually, and now she's looking like 20 years old, mid-20s, early 30s maybe even. It's hard to pinpoint the exact age of the characters because all the characters, the main characters, besides I believe Dandelion and some less important guys, are people who don't age in the Witcher series so obviously. Geralt is around 90 years old, but because the fact that he's a mutant, he doesn't age that much. Obviously, the same applies to Triss, and the same applies to Yennefer. They are all beautifully looking women in their prime time, and they are much older when you think about it. But you know, this is just how this world works. Then we have the burning village. We saw that part in the VGX trailer. Emperor again, old, very important guy. As I said before, the whole design of this person suggests that he is very, very commanding, which actually perfectly portraits him. And then we have horse, boat, and foot. These are the means of transport in this game. CD Projekt logo on top of the tower, to our little bit from the center of the screen to our left, which basically means it's basically an Easter egg they put in to have little fun, I think. Then we have the obligatory brothel and obligatory monster lair / dungeon / ruin. Both of these look interesting, to say the least. Next point, the two short messages. Sword of Destiny has 2 edges. This is a line that I believe suggests the non-linearity of the game. Very deep choice and consequence system. The Witcher as a series and as a RPG is very heavy on this. The guys created, I believe they created a new standard with The Witcher 2 when there is a whole chunk, 1/3 or 1/4 of the game sort of, you know, cut off and as a content for a player. So if you play the game, you need to play it twice at least to see the most of the content, and this also suggests that. In the next shot we have the Wild Hunt. These guys look like the Wild Hunt, you know, heavy plate males, looking very, very disturbing and riding horses. 133, Geralt fights the antagonist of the series, it seems, King of the Wild Hunt. This guy was a side villain, I would dare to say, in the first game. Now he looks very much more important. I wonder what this line he says means, because he says that they meet again, White Wolf. We meet again, White Wolf. What that means? It might be, I wonder what previous encounter with Geralt he means. Be it encounter, or maybe all of them, all of the encounters they had from the moment where Geralt was attacked by the Wild Hunt in this dream sequence and Yennefer was captured, or was it in the Witcher 1? Interesting idea here, and I want them to extrapolate on that. One important thing, the King of the Wild Hunt seems to be a mysterious villain. A good story needs a good villain as much as it needs a well-written protagonist. So I hope they won't. They will make him a nice character. Then we have members of the Hunt, and a very interesting shot. Geralt between Triss and Yennefer. There is one last in the back. We have a person in the back who's masked. This suggests a. What is this shot about? I think it should suggest that there will be a choice between Yennefer and Triss when it comes to some sort of a romantical involvement concerning Geralt, which will be difficult, I believe, especially for people like me, because I personally think that Triss is one of the most interesting and well-written characters in RPGs. She's complex, she has her own mysteries, she has her own agenda, and she was trying to be much more on a political scale when the Sorceress Lodge was still working and doing its little plots and twists. So I think that Triss was very well written and presented as a love interest for Geralt between in the first game and the second game. And on the other hand, I know what type of relationship, because I read the books, is in the back with Yennefer. Geralt loves Yennefer. She was the love of his life, but in the meantime, the relationship between the two was very toxic. If you want to know more, I highly recommend check out my interlude about Yennefer from the LP. Concerning Yennefer, there's still this little thing. She looks very much like she was described in the books. Raven, dark hair. This is her most important feature. Also the color of her eyes. We don't see it much here. I think it was violet. I don't remember now. I think it was violet. And she was dressing black and white. Plus, she's obviously a beautiful woman. Then we have Dandelion. I think this part visualizes not exactly a moment where you meet Dandelion in The Witcher 3. I speculate that this is because of the narration behind, done by the Wild Hunt King of the Wild Hunt. This shows the consequence system. Depending on your decisions, it might be possible that Dandelion might end up captured by someone or even tortured, which would be an interesting, at least, twist from the developers. Horseback fighting confirmed. Range weapons confirmed. Drowning, wait, swimming confirmed, and also diving, which obviously means there's another big portion of the game that will be interesting to visit and explore, the underworld, the underwater world, sorry. Horse riding. This is not just some horse riding. We know that this is a race, so it will be most possibly a side activity that Geralt will have another means to gather money. You bet on yourself and then you win. You participate in a race. Beautifully done. Of course, much depends on how this will be implemented. What are the stats of the horses? Will Geralt have some special talents for riding horses, or I don't know, or it will be more of a action sequence? Depends. Then we have confirmed the bombs and monsters in this shot, that I believe these are werewolves. Griffin. griffin and more stunning effects in general in this montage. Basically, the whole trailer is a wide spectrum of monsters that we will fight. I will have to put somewhere here a number how many monsters I did count in the trailer. Sex, of course. This is not a Witcher game if it's not if there is no romantic and passionate time alone. While these games are directed at a mature audience, they also have this complexity to them that I believe is very important to understand. This world is grim, this world is morally ambiguous, but it also has those beautiful moments where the two people love each other. When people try to be good, compassionate, they try to pursue their goals and relationships. Obviously, from The Witcher 2, we know that CD Projekt is trying to make this this romantical involvement also connected to sexuality, because sexuality, as we know, is a very important part of our lives and a integral part of our identity. So they want this to also be part of their characters. Geralt is not he's a guy who looks for those types of pleasures as well, but he doesn't want them to be on a low level, unless he goes, like in The Witcher 2, to a brothel and says, "I need a whore." When it comes to Yennefer, when it comes to Triss, and other female characters in this world, I must say that I was pleasantly surprised how this turned out in The Witcher 2, and from the trailer we see that they didn't abandon this kind of idea. Another shot shows a decapitation, very brutal, and also again this presents how this game works. Fighting on a ship, this is likely literally on a ship, which might be an interesting sequence in the game. There's a lot of monsters, as I said. Then there is the date that they showed. We finally know the release date, we know when we will play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. And there is also a raven in the back of the skull, killing from the inside I think that's a Nilfgaardian soldier in the middle of a very grim battle. Why the raven is so important? Ravens are associated with Yennefer because of her raven hair. I don't recall that she was using the ravens in any specific way, like in Game of Thrones, no. But those birds are somehow, you know, are sort of her trademark. And that basically concludes the trailer. And of course, in one of the final, you probably know this already, in one of the final frames of the trailer there is the hidden message. The text of that hidden message you have down below in the description, not to mention that it was analyzed by a lot of people outside, and feel free to comment on the things I pointed out here. I tried to make this as brief as it was possible.
I hope you enjoyed this little in-depth analysis. It is quite long actually. At the beginning I had more than 40 points showing exactly what the trailer has in store for you. There are some speculations, some other things, and of course the mentioned in the analysis last hidden message, which actually gives you a brief rundown on the trailer itself. I do know one thing: whatever they present in the E3, it seems that we will have a deep 40 minutes trailer happening, or rather I should say 40 minutes material from the game. If that will happen, it means it will be stunning, and that's something I want to see. I hope I will be able to show you a little bit of my opinion on the gameplay mechanics that they are showing and they're trying to improve. And if that happens, you can feel free to ask me questions and also encourage me to do videos, because when people encourage me to do them, I find more motivation to try. For now, thank you for watching. As always, my name is Gabriel, and I hope I'll see you next time. For now, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on my channel, commenting, subscribing, and looking for other materials. Thank you for your time as always, and see you next time.